The courtroom is quiet, the tension thick, as the gavel pounds from the judge. Everyone's eyes are on Kody Brown, the formerly untouchable head of a family America believed it knew. Today, though, his secrets are unraveling before the world. A $33 million fraud scheme, a Ponzi scheme laid bare, and the wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, are no longer quiet witnesses. There is something sinister brewing behind the glossy reality TV smiles, and the truth is about to blow. Would you have believed the man who created a family empire would also create a financial trap? Stay with me, because what you are about to hear will shock you, and at the end of it, you'll be wondering everything you thought you knew about the Browns. Before we start, say below, who do you think noticed this earlier? The one of the wives or Kody himself? The morning sunlight pours through the high windows of the Salt Lake City courtroom, illuminating the months-long tension. The air is slightly scented with wood polish and coffee, but nobody pays attention. Everyone's eyes are on Kody Brown, stiffly seated at the defendant's table, nervously adjusting the seams of his suit. On the outside, he appears tranquil, but within, a maelstrom ensues. Across the room, his four wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, sit silently, each with her own maelstrom of thought. The voice of the judge pierces the silence. Brown, upon thorough examination of the evidence, such as financial documents, witness statements, and affidavits under oath, this court finds every ear is on edge, every pulse racing, and then the bomb falls. The Ponzi scheme allegations are substantiated. $33 million has been stolen. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Meri's hand flies to her mouth, her eyes wide, tears threatening to spill. Janelle grips the edge of her seat, her knuckles white, jaw tight with anger. Christine leans forward, eyes sharp, silently demanding answers from the man she once trusted with everything. Robyn sits still, her lips pressed together, her mind calculating every consequence of this revelation. You won't believe what secret Kody attempted to keep hidden from the world, along with his own wives. Off the court, rumors fly faster than wildfire. Neighbors, friends of the show, and fans ask, how could Kody, the man who showed a model-perfect family life, be responsible for such a huge financial scam? All his moves for years, all real estate investments, family enterprises, donations to charities, now appear suspect. The core of the Brown family is crumbling. The attorneys start laying out the evidence, spreadsheets, bank records, and a complex web of investments that all lead back to Kody. It's a web that appears impossible to unravel. The whispers inside the courtroom grow as they reveal the scale of the scam. $33 million. Millions of dollars that were meant to secure the family's future, rather than being diverted to secret accounts, offshore investments, and business ventures. Could someone that you trust your whole life actually betray you this totally? The question hangs in the air, unspoken but palpable to all. Meri's face goes white. Janelle's eyes flick towards Kody, hoping for even a glimpse of regret. Christine clenches her notebook tighter, anticipating the explosion she knows is about to erupt. Robyn, serene but cold, sits back in her chair, waiting. The testimony changes. Former business partners emerge, each adding a new twist of dishonesty. One talks about Kody's charm, how he talked investors, including friends of his family, into donating money to projects that existed almost not at all. Another outlines the complex paperwork and phony audits meant to erase evidence. The court listens in shock. The wives listen, feeling betrayed. And the world at home begins to notice cracks in the image of the perfect family they used to worship. All the secrets that Kody buried for years are now being uncovered before your eyes. The tension builds as Kody gets on the stand. He glances at each wife in turn, searching for forgiveness, perhaps comprehension, perhaps even justification. I never intended it to come this far, he whispers, his voice trembling just enough to convey vulnerability, but not quite enough to wash away the betrayal. Christine sits forward, eyes burning. Not intended to? Kody, people entrusted you with everything. People entrusted you with their lives. Meri is finally at the breaking point, weeping silently but audibly, shaking her head. Janelle appears to open her mouth to say something, then bites it back, deciding to allow the court process to be her voice. Robyn does not move, calm, but her eyes give away the maelstrom of thoughts she will not say. The judge hesitates, allowing the gravity of the discovery to sink in. The court understands the intricacy of the Brown family situation. The judge goes on, voice controlled. But this does not excuse Mr. Brown from his fiscal impropriety. The language is stern, heavy, and has the weight of foreboding. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, the courtroom door bursts open. A whistleblower appears, a previously unknown figure, clutching a pile of documents that threaten to expose even more covert plots. Eyes widen in shock. The judge's eyebrow rises. Kody's hand shakes ever so slightly. The wives look at each other with looks of anticipation and fear. The whistleblower begins speaking, and the courtroom leans in. There are additional accounts, hidden trusts, and undisclosed partnerships tied directly to Mr. Brown that total over $10 million more than previously revealed. The room erupts, shocked gasps, whispered speculations, and the flicker of cameras catching every raw expression. If you think the $33 million is the worst, just wait. What comes next will leave you speechless. The wives sit in stunned silence for a moment. After the testimony, no words are necessary to speak between them. Both sense the betrayal in their stomachs. Janelle breaks through the silence at last, muttering under her breath, "How did we miss all this?" Christine's gaze is on Kody, who appears suddenly diminished, less authoritative, nearly frail under the burden of reality. The episode ends with the court on tenterhooks, the wives' feelings raw, and Kody's future hanging in the balance. On the street outside, the news vans form a queue, poised to relay every morsel to the world. The tale of the Brown family, so neatly staged and perfect, is now shattering in real time, and at home, viewers are left wondering the same thing. How deep does it go? The judge calls for a temporary recess, and rumors spread there is fresh evidence to be revealed, evidence that will surprise even the most devoted of the wives. And one piece of news could totally annihilate Kody once and for all. The courtroom is hung with leaden weight as the doors swing wide, admitting a thin slice of cold air that threatens to freeze the already charged atmosphere. Every eye is on Kody Brown, whose equable mask is starting to crumble. But before anyone can say a word, the judge leans forward, her eyes steady and unyielding. Behind the perfectly coiffed smiles and Instagram-perfect family photos is a betrayal so profound that it risks dismantling everything Kody Brown ever constructed. Years of lies, millions of dollars, and the very trust of the people closest to him, his wives now dangle by a thread. Today, secrets no one had the courage to utter out loud will finally come to light. And the question is not whether Kody will tumble, but how dramatically he will fall. The hum of the crowd dies away to nothing as the first witness of the day appears, a former family accountant. She is clutching a folder that is bursting with spreadsheets, invoices, and bank statements. Her hands shake ever so slightly, but her voice is firm and cuts through the tension like a scalpel. Kody Brown orchestrated multiple financial maneuvers designed to mislead investors. She begins including family members who trusted him completely. Offshore accounts, falsified reports, and diverted funds were part of a scheme that amassed over $33 million. The wives exchange glances, the weight of betrayal pressing down harder than ever. Meri's hands tremble as she clasps them together, silently trying to hold back tears. Janelle's jaw clenches, her eyes narrowing in a blend of anger and incredulity. Christine leans forward, her eyes raking over every morsel, attempting to piece together the secrets Kody had so assiduously concealed. Robyn, normally the poised and calculated one, bites her lip and averts her gaze, seething with ire below the surface. Kody had believed his secrets were safe forever, but today they're being exposed for all the world to witness. The drama builds as the accountant presents a step-by-step chronology of Kody's Ponzi scheme, each step detailing how he attracted investors in the guise of family business and philanthropic projects, with promissory returns that never actually existed. Photos, emails, and tape-recorded phone calls are shown, each piece of evidence adding to the building picture of fraud. And just when you think the web couldn't get more complicated, the courtroom doors swing open once more. A whistleblower, one whose identity had been previously kept secret, emerges with a fat envelope of papers, insisting there's an undercover side of the scheme no one has heard of yet. Spontaneous gasps ripple through the room. Kody fidgets uncomfortably, sweat beads forming along his temple. The wives, shocked into stiffness, feel their world spin further. The whistleblower's voice cuts through the tension. There are other accounts associated with Kody that were utilized to support a luxurious personal lifestyle, properties, cars, and vacations, all unbeknownst to the investors and the family. The crowd is agog, the air thick with incredulity. Each disclosure shucks another layer of Kody's artfully crafted veneer. And the reality is more stunning than anyone had ever dreamed. The judge hesitates, allowing the significance of the testimony to sink in. Mr. Brown, do you realize the magnitude of these revelations? Her voice is firm but unyielding. Kody swallows hard, his voice almost a whisper. Yes, Your Honor. The camera cuts to Meri, whose eyes are welling up with tears. She speaks softly to no one in general. I never thought it could be this terrible. Janelle fists her hands, a whirlwind of emotion crossing her face, betrayal, fury, and a protective indignation on behalf of everyone concerned. Christine writes notes frantically, attempting to take in the new evidence. Robyn says nothing, her mind weighing out the repercussion, every possible consequence running through her thoughts. And then, an envelope glides across the courtroom floor, unseen until a young clerk disenters it. Inside, a succession of recordings emerges. Phone calls with unknown investors, conversations that show motives so much bigger than negligence. The room falls silent. The wives look at each other, a combination of fear and expectation squeezing their chests. Is there any end to this? Janelle whispers, though the question lingers unanswered. The recordings play. Kody's voice calm and persuasive, promises returns he knew were impossible. Investors are reassured, while the wives sit in disbelief, each grappling with the enormity of the betrayal. Meri's hand trembles, brushing her temple as tears stream down her face. Christine's eyes harden with a mix of fury and determination. She cannot let this slide. Robyn breathes slowly, her lips clamped tight, the ice in her eyes warning of the punishments to be revealed. Janelle leans forward, her chair squeaking, prepared to face each lie head-on. All of the secrets Kody whispered in confidence now yell in the courtroom for all to see. Testimony becomes a personal matter as the wives take the stand. Each in turn remembers the financial and emotional cost of Kody's behavior. Meri fights to keep from crying, as she speaks of the nights she lay awake worrying about family safety, wondering if their house, their nest egg, and their future were really secure. Janelle speaks of sleepless nights, wondering if she had placed her trust in the right individual. Christine has a cutting tone, her voice burning with the betrayal and rage of someone who has had her loyalty taken for granted. Robyn, always calm, speaks with economy, revealing how Kody's behavior discredited the foundation of the family, both economically and emotionally. The courtroom hangs on its words, transfixed, as the emotional impact of the testimony grows more profound. Kody's facade still disintegrates under the withering examination, and the watching audience at home can feel the weight of each new revelation. As the session is almost at its close, the judge calls for a recess, but it isn't possible to make a move before a sealed envelope comes for the court. Within, there's a stunning secret waiting, an old secret investment account linked to Kody's own wealth, untouched and unrevealed to anyone, even his wives. The wives stiffen, their faces a blur of fear and skepticism. And one thing lingers in the air. How far does the betrayal of Kody truly extend? And who will survive when the truth finally comes out? The courtroom is charged, each whisper and step amplified in the stifling hush. Kody Brown sits at the defense table, stiff, drawn, pale under the unforgiving overhead lights. Cameras burst sporadically, freezing each tremble of fear, each micro flicker of betrayal. Out there, the crowd grows louder. News teams lining the streets, salivating for every morsel. But in here, all eyes are on the drama unfolding. What happens when a man who promised love, security, and family loyalty is exposed as the mastermind behind a $33 million Ponzi? The wives who once stood beside him, Meri, Janelle, Christine, Robyn, now face a horrifying reality. Their lives, their trust, and their futures have been manipulated from the very beginning. Every smile, every embrace, every promise captured on camera was hiding a lie that will leave a permanent scar. The judge raps the gavel, calling for order. Today there will be new evidence presented, papers that will turn everything on its head. The courtroom falls silent, tension coiling around everyone like a vice. The first witness is one of Kody's former investors, a woman who blindfolded her trust in him. She rises, trembling with rage and betrayal. I invested my life saving, she says, and he gave me promises of stability. But every dollar was fed into secret accounts, and into his own family's accounts as well. Her glance strays briefly to the wives, silently seeking, did you know? Meri's hands clench into fists. Janelle's jaw tighten. Anger and disbelief battle across her face. Christine leans forward, scrutinizing Kody with a sharp intensity, trying to reconcile the man she married with the fraud now exposed. Robyn's lips pressed together, her mind racing through every decision and moment where trust was broken. Each discovery is a thread, unraveling the thread of Kody's carefully woven universe. The court looks through a string of recorded phone calls and emails exchanged between Kody and some investors. His soothing, suave voice in the recordings stands against the emotional devastation he leaves in his wake. Each wife responds differently. Meri shaking with sadness, Janelle seething with anger, Christine plotting her next step, and Robyn keeping her frosty cool. But her eyes give away a tempest raging inside. Had it not been for Kody's knack for digging himself deeper into trouble, the bailiff sets down a thick envelope on the judge's bench. Inside are papers that expose secret partnerships connected with family real estate holdings. These were not investments, they were homes bought with money earmarked for the family's future, now being used as personal property and kept hidden from all of them. The courtroom is filled with gas. The wives give each other shocked and betrayed looks. Kody's voice trembles as he attempts to justify himself, invoking oversight, misunderstanding, or a lack of intent. But the proof is incriminating. Every paper, every document creating a picture that undermines his denials. The wives' emotions escalate. Meri breaks into soft weeping. Janelle holds on to her seat with white-knuckled fists. Christine's eyes are sharp and unflinching, and Robyn rises to her feet, her voice low but piercing. How could you do this to all of us? The further Kody's betrayal goes, the harder it is to be able to consider him as the man we knew. The second mini-hook comes when the trial is interrupted by a surprise witness, a former employee of one of Kody's shell companies. She testifies about secret accounts, coded transactions, and meetings that Kody secretly had without informing even his closest associates. He was cautious, she tells us, voice shaking. Every bit of fraud was thought out, crafted to deceive and manipulate. The wives listen, each response more outraged than the one before. Meri hides her face in her hands. Janelle seethes with rage, tears and fury mingling. Christine's mind whirls, considering the impact on all family members. Robyn's face is impassive, but the calculated look indicates a silent promise to expose all secrets. And then, the unthinkable. An attorney pushes a laptop down the bench, playing a secretly taken video recording by an investor. The clip depicts Kody in a private meeting, talking of ways to hide assets and deceive investors, and even his wives. The wives' jaws drop in shock. The courtroom falls silent. Kody shifts uncomfortably in his seat, knowing the proof might finally be overwhelming. All the secrets Kody believed were dead and buried are finally laid bare, and there is nothing to conceal the truth from the eyes observing this unfold. The session gets intensely personal as the judge invites the wives forward. One after another, they lay out the emotional matricide of Kody's infidelity. Meri shares endless nights of worry about whether the family would make ends meet. Janelle narrates through gritted teeth about how the trust was broken in a moment. Christine's testimony is piercing, intentional and merciless, pointing out not only the monetary effect but the emotional abuse she suffered. Robyn's words slice like ice, recounting how Kody's falsehoods undermined the family foundation she struggled to preserve. Kody sits with slumped shoulders, his eyes darting around as each wife speaks. The weight of what he has done crushes him, lying upon him like a physical object. Cameras pick up every micro-expression, every flinch and every spark of guilt. The TV audience feels the tension, the heartbreak and suspense as the deceitful story unfolds. As the session winds down, the judge breaks the news that a new development has been uncovered, papers indicating that Kody might have transferred assets into hidden family trusts outside of legal scrutiny altogether. The wives look at each other with horror, and Kody's face goes white. The question now isn't so much whether there will be other secrets revealed, but how many lives will be wrecked before the whole truth is out. The courtroom is claustrophobic, each breath thick with expectation. Kody Brown sits at the defense table, his hands together in a tight knot, knuckles white as alabaster. The wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, are behind him, their faces set in a mixture of shock and rage and disbelief. Every eye is on him, every whisper loud, every squeak of a chair sounding like a gunshot. Tonight the walls of deceit are tumbling down more quickly than anyone could have imagined. Kody Brown, the man who vowed loyalty, love, and protection to his wives, now must bear the brunt of his deception. $33 million lost, secrets revealed, and the lives of all those closest to him forever changed. And in this courtroom, reality is about to hurt worse than any reality show scandal ever could. What happens when the man you trusted most becomes the architect of your deepest betrayal? The judge summons the next witness, a financial forensic expert, whose role is to follow the trail of Kody's illegal money. She produces charts, graphs, and reports detailing precisely how millions were drained from family investments into private accounts. The wives sit, stunned as their world, and the reputation of their patriarch collapses around them. And just when you think the evidence couldn't get more surprising, the analyst clicks a button, and the courtroom screen comes to life with photos of upscale homes, private cars, and foreign vacations, all purchased with the stolen money. Gasps erupt. Kody squirms in his seat. Meri hides her face in her hands, her eyes closed in agony. Janelle's eyes burn with anger. Christine clamps her jaw with rage, and Robyn's face is cold, icy, but radiating with a silent threat. The further the investigation progresses, the more it becomes impossible to overlook the truth. The court also requests an exclusive moment. The wives may confront Kody face to face. The atmosphere in the room becomes charged as they face him individually. Meri's voice trembles, weighed down with sorrow. I trusted you with everything. My heart, my family, my life. And you used it all for your schemes? Her eyes are brimming with tears, hands shaking. Janelle stands, rage emanating from every step. Do you have any conception of what it's like to learn that the man you loved, that you created a life for, is capable of lying to you this thoroughly? Christine's voice cuts through the stillness like a blade, hard-edged and exact. You weren't careless, Kody. You staged this. You manipulated everybody, friends, relatives, even us. Robyn, serene yet unyielding, speaks last. Her voice is even but annihilating. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. And now everyone who trusted you, including your own wives, has to pick up the pieces of your betrayal. Each word uttered in this confrontation wounds more than any courtroom argument ever could. And then, a surprise twist. The bailiff enters, holding a folder that looks heavier than the weight of the entire courtroom. Inside are a stack of documents from an unknown source, evidence that Kody tried to conceal more millions in offshore accounts and shell corporations. The wives gasp. The judge leans forward, eyes narrowing. Kody's face goes white. The news is almost too much to bear. The courtroom dynamics are transformed into electric tension. The cameras pick up all the subtle reactions. Meri wiping away her tears, Janelle shaking with barely suppressed anger, Christine's stern glare, and Robyn's icy, calculating gaze. The viewers experience the gravity of each revelation, each betrayal, as the layers of Kody's lies are stripped away, revealing the man behind the public image. The judge calls for a recess, but rumors of speculation spread throughout the room. How was Kody able to keep such massive schemes under wraps from the very individuals nearest to him? For how long had it been going on? And most of all, what will remain of the family once the whole truth is out? Outside the courtroom, journalists rush to document every aspect. Twitter goes wild with tweets, shock, outrage, incredulity. The Brown family's personal lives are now public entertainment, and the world is watching, transfixed by the unfolding drama. Back in the room, the proceedings continue. The whistleblower, once anonymous, is permitted to testify on more evidence, and explains how Kody had also falsified records to keep the family's secrets, so no one outside would ever know the truth. The wives respond in real time, their faces contorting in heartbreak, anger, and incredulity. Meri clutches her chest, as if physically choking on the betrayal. Janelle starts forward, hands shaking, poised to make demands but held back by the legal system. Christine's thoughts whirl with calculation on how to salvage the family's remaining property and future. Robyn is stone-faced, but the tension in her jaw gives a glimpse into the storm waiting to be unleashed. Each phantom account, each doctored document, each clandestine meeting is now part of Kody's downfall. The court presents a final bit of evidence for the day. A video recording of Kody having a private conversation with investors, showing his awareness of the financial meltdown he caused. His relaxed voice in the video is so much at odds with the devastation he brought. The wives look shaken. Meri gasps openly. Janelle's eyes bulge wide, fists clenched on the edge of the seat. Christine leans forward, jaw set, soaking up each word. Robyn's eyes blaze with icy intensity. At the close of the day's session, the judge hesitates, his eyes locked intently on Kody. The court has evidence of additional undisclosed assets and covert schemes. This case has a long way to go. Wives glare at each other with tense, apprehensive expression. Kody's face goes white. The crowd is left suspended in their seats, heartbeats in unison with the question that looms over the courtroom. How much more can Kody conceal? And how much more destruction will his secrets unleash? The courtroom is charged, the tension palpable. All eyes are on Kody Brown, who sits rigidly, slumping his shoulders, the weight of months of scrutiny bearing down on him. Behind him stand his wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine and Robyn, their faces a blending of shock, rage and determination. Outside, reporters surge through the doors, cameras clicking every strained face, every hushed conversation. Inside, the world of the family is beginning to disintegrate, and there is no going back. The final act starts. Months of searching for the truth, a never-ending stream of testimony, an explosive revelation. Kody Brown's deception empire is on the verge of imploding. $33 million stolen, trust broken, and the lives of the women who have stood by him hanging in the balance. Not anymore. If one is asking if the truth is going to come out, it is a matter of how devastating the fallout will be. And before the court can render its verdict, one thing is sure: the Brown family will never be the same. The judge pauses, her gaze sweeping the courtroom. We are here to resolve, not just the misappropriation of funds, but the damage this has inflicted on the victims, both investors and relatives. Mr. Brown, you will be given a chance to make a response. Kody swallows hard, voice strained, almost inaudible. I did not want this to happen. I did try to control everything, keep the family protected. His words stumble in the face of emotion and evidence against him. The wives look at one another. Meri hides her face, too upset to see it. Janelle's hands shake, jaw clenched in rage. Christine leans forward, blazing with anger, silently commanding responsibility. Robyn is straight and tall, her eyes sharp, unflinching, a chill reminder that family has consequences. Each deception, each deceit, each black market transaction has brought it to this very point, and the reality will be merciless. The first item of evidence introduced is a meticulous analysis of secret accounts and offshore transfers, carefully followed by forensic investigators. Kody's defense starts to fall apart as the scope of the fraud becomes uncontestable. The wives' responses are raw and human. Meri weeps openly. Janelle fists her hands in silent fury. Christine writes furious notes. And Robyn's icy demeanor conceals an inner tempest of resolve and devastation. And then, a surprising bombshell surprises everyone. A whistleblower who was previously anonymous comes forward with reports revealing that Kody had tried to divert even more money into accounts hidden under family trusts, effectively going around the legal system altogether. The courtroom gasps in shock. The wives look on in horror. Kody squirms uncomfortably, knowing that even his desperate efforts at being in charge are now laid bare. The emotional burden grows as each wife tells her story. The individual cost of the betrayal, not only monetary but emotional. Meri goes first, her words shaking. I trusted him. I gave him everything. And he used it against us, against everyone. Janelle's statement is piercing and biting, conveying not only betrayal but moral outrage. Christine explains the careful planning she had to do to shield the family during the devastation. Robyn, biting but controlled, details how Kody's dishonesty undermined the very structure of the family she struggled to maintain. The hurt, the wrath, and the betrayal run as deep as the lost money, and the courtroom senses it with each testimony uttered. The judge pauses, letting the impact of their testimonies settle. Cameras capture every subtle reaction. Meri's quiet sobs, Janelle's fury, Christine's steely determination, and Robyn's controlled intensity. The audience at home can almost feel the tension, the heartbreak, and the suspense as the truth continues to unfold. And just when tension is at its greatest, the bailiff appears with an envelope sealed, its contents guaranteed to be the last piece of evidence. The judge opens it to find papers which show that Kody tried to cheat not just family investors but legal action from outside investors as well, formulating a complex scheme to cover his own tracks completely. The room is filled with muttering. Kody goes white. The wives' expressions shift. Meri's disbelief, Janelle's fury, Christine's determination, Robyn's icy calculation. The courtroom is now a powder keg, and everyone can feel the impending explosion. The judge leans forward, her voice steady but commanding. Mr. Brown, the evidence presented is undeniable. This court finds that your actions constitute deliberate misappropriation of funds, fraudulent activity, and betrayal of trust to the highest degree. Restitution and legal consequences will follow. Reckoning time has come, and nothing Kody can do at this point can reverse the damage he has wrought. The wives stand, one at a time, their own faces a blend of relief, sadness, and strength. Meri blinks away tears, her body shaking with emotion. Janelle breathes sharply, the heavy burden of anger gradually shifting to clarity. Christine's eyes become soft, a sense of justice blending with remaining anger. Robyn finally can take a deep breath, her reserve in place, yet her eye is unyielding, her silent message unmistakable. Kody can no longer conceal from consequence. The judge invites closing argument. The victim's lawyers deliver a blistering recap of the lies, the manipulation, and the human cost. Kody tries to defend himself, but the courtroom's attention is unrelenting. Every word, every move, every look has been recorded, dissected, and measured against the monumental extent of his betrayal. Justice isn't merely about money. It's about responsibility, truth, and the lives ruined in the process. The final moments of the session are raw and emotional. The judge delivers her ruling, outlining restitution, penalties, and the legal fallout that Kody will face. The wives watch in a mixture of relief and sorrow, realizing that the man they once trusted so deeply has finally been held accountable. Cameras capture Meri's tears, Janelle's quiet resolve, Christine's steely eyes, and Robyn's composed strength, the faces of women who have endured unimaginable betrayal, yet remain unbroken. As the session ends, the judge's final statement echoes throughout the room. This case is a reminder that trust, when betrayed, has consequences far greater than money. Let it serve as an object lesson for everyone. The wives share nervous glances, but the specter of betrayal remains. Comment below, who do you believe was hurt worst by Kody's betrayal? And could the family ever truly recover from the scandal?